When the world gets weird and the bills get thick, you call on Clint and you feature Dick. One talks numbers, the other talks slick. Two dads, one mic, yeah, this could stick. Clint's crunching figures straight to the point. Dick's just here to laugh in the joint. It's the Clinterific Show, featuring Dick. Dick's quick with a joke, Clint's got the math. Together they'll balance your checkbook and your laugh. They'll talk finance, fun, and fatherly fails, with liquidity dreams and 401k tales. So grab your coffee, join us a ticket, the Clinterific Show, featuring Dick.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're on. We're back here with the Clinterific Show featuring Dick.
Hey.
And we're post Thanksgiving 2025.
Officially in the Christmas season now. I love my wife to finally decorate our tree.
Yeah.
Isn't that generous of me?
Yeah, I decided to give up on that fight about halfway through November. So yeah.
Fortunately for me, we have a fake tree, obviously, because fake trees are superior because you don't have to worry about.
Oh man, ain't that the truth?
A whole bunch of needles, and you spend the money once and you reuse it for years. So obviously, fake trees, superior.
Yeah.
But it's big enough that there's no way my wife can set it up by herself. So she had to wait for me to set it up. Because guns.
She's got to bring in the big guns.
She's that's
the cannons.
Like, is she gonna call another man? I hope not. Anyway,
yeah.
I did set up our Christmas tree like beginning of November, but I refused to decorate it, and it stayed in the corner of the living room undecorated until after Thanksgiving.
Nice. Yeah, we got our Christmas tree up like the week before Thanksgiving, I think it was, but we were officially trying to get all the. And I say we very generously. I was more just trying to clean up the kitchen a little bit as Anna and the children were putting up the ornaments and all that stuff. Mainly just because 4 people around that Christmas tree is grounds for a war. Because somebody's going to run into somebody and we're going to break a priceless heirloom ornament that cannot be replaced. We already lost, I think, 2 of them in our move back in July. So
plastic ornaments are the way to go, man.
Oh man.
Before
For sure. But Anna's got about, I would say, probably 30 or 40 of them from her late grandparents that she really loves. So we're hoping to protect them from our crazy children.
Yeah, you get her a smaller Christmas tree that you can set up in your like bedroom that she can decorate with.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah. But anyway, well, this week I know we're going straight into the Christmas season, so we have a plethora of topics to go through. I was trying to put together some ideas this past week, and it's difficult to think clearly when you're full of gravy and your wife's mac and cheese, which my wife makes some of the most incredible mac and cheese on the planet. So
you're always full of something.
Yep, I am. Yeah. And
I'm getting full on these babies.
Yeah. Oh, see, so I'm assuming that's a Little Debbie.
Yeah, it's the
Christmas tree nutty bar or whatever.
Yeah. Why are they single packaged? Like the regular ones are double, and these are obviously thinner.
It's shrinkflation, is what it is.
Shrinkflation.
Yes.
It's because it's a seasonal holiday confection. So
yes,
they can charge more, even though you don't get more.
Yeah. I have heard that there are huge amounts of demands for, I think it's the Christmas trees.
Oh, no.
So it's basically just a zebra cake that's shaped like a Christmas tree.
That's exactly
and
what it is.
they sell like nobody's business. Because I live within 30 minutes of one of the 3 or 4 Little Debbie manufacturing facilities. I actually used to work in one of them when I was younger, when I was in high school. That was one of my jobs, which we talked about last week with me sorting the boxes. That was the company that we sorted boxes for, was Little Debbie's. So the case that you get that has like the 12 cookies in it, they would take 6 or 10 or 12 of those and put them in a larger corrugated box to ship them to the retailers for sale. And those corrugated brown cardboard boxes are the ones that they would recycle and let us sell back to them, basically, so they could reuse them. But it got to a point where it was so much cheaper for them to just buy brand new boxes that it didn't make any sense to pay us, which is crazy because they weren't paying us much, you know. But yeah, so this week we're gonna do 2 smaller topics from our financial literacy segment of the show. We're gonna talk about hiring your children. Is it a good idea to hire your children to work for your business? And
Only if I can do performance views every quarter on them.
Exactly. Yep. And then the second one we're going to dive into a little bit is this concept of 7 sources of income being associated with millionaires. So, yeah. So I believe
Barely
we've
surviving
kind of
with one job.
Yeah, I believe we've kind of touched on this in the past. I think we talked about it a little bit either last week or the week before. But we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth. And then we're going to do our Christmas-themed Flop or Not series. And we're going to do... this is the first week of Christmas, so we're going to do the three or four, however many podcasts based on the... I haven't looked at the calendar, so I don't know how many recordings we're going to do before Christmas, but I believe we'll have 3 right before Christmas that are going to be our Christmas-themed Flop or Not series. So we'll dive into some Christmas movies and see how they did. And then we've got a little bit of a shorter going deep segment this week. Where we're just going to talk about some things that we've been dealing with for the last part of our lives. So yeah, stick around and let's dive right in. So
welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome. Hopefully everybody had a Thanksgiving. Had a Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
a good Thanksgiving. For those of you in the United States. I know.
Yeah, if you're in Canada listening to this, we know you had one. It was at the wrong time.
Yeah. Yeah, you got. So. I don't know what's wrong with the calendars up there, but they have been weird. Screwing them up for decades.
You got to get that fixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it even they're thankful for up there? Like what?
Tom Hortons, Tim Hortons,
Canadian Tire.
No. It's like a Hardee's or Wendy's.
Yeah, I know. Well, I thought Tim Hortons was a donut place, donuts and coffee.
Well, I think they have breakfast stuff too. It's been a while since I've been up there. So whenever I started working for the pet food company that I worked for back in 2016, their headquarters was previously located in Toronto, Canada. So yeah, we went up there and stayed there for a week, and I got to try out all the amazing Canadian culture. I will say this. I don't know if it's because there's a lot of competition there in Toronto as far as restaurants are concerned, but I know they have different regulations as far as how food, at least they did at that time. I mean, obviously this was 9 years ago at this point. I believe they had different regulations from a food production perspective, like vegetables and stuff like that. So when they grow vegetables, I don't believe they're allowed to do some of the same things that they're allowed to do in the United States. So the vegetables, at least the ones that I ate up there, were incredible. They had a much better taste. I believe they were being pulled closer to when they were actually ripe. So you're not getting artificially ripened food that, sits at Walmart or whatever other grocery store you have in your area, and they put those chemicals on there that make them artificially ripen, and they radiate them and all this other junk. I know that there's some of these regulations that have kind of changed in the last few years, but anyway, long story short, it's very good. It was very good vegetables and stuff like that. So that hotel that we were staying in had a restaurant on the main floor and there in the lobby. And I ate there, I think 3 times the entire week we were up there, and it was real good. I was like, especially considering it's just like it was basically like a Holiday Inn type hotel. I mean, you're looking at anything super fancy, and excellent food, excellent. So anyway, back to the actual topic at hand, hiring your children. So obviously, this is a question that you really only need to ask yourself if you have started a business in some capacity. You're generating income, revenue from some source that is something that you're trying to protect in some form or fashion from taxes. So the real question that comes in my mind is it actually even a good idea? Like, what benefits can you get from it? And the truth of it is there are benefits. There's also drawbacks to it as well. It's not just a one size fits all kind of thing. You can't just say, "Oh, I've got a 5-year-old. I'm going to have him start doing work for my lawn mowing business and have him do everything that I want. And I'm going to pay him $25 an hour." There's a lot of regulations that you have to follow, and you have to keep within the regulations of largely what a standard employee would get paid. So obviously, when you're hiring a child, you're looking at different age groups. So as far as the IRS is concerned, one of the main things that you need to keep in mind from I'm hiring my child to do work for me is this an age appropriate task for my 5-year-old? You don't want a 5-year-old completing a tax return completely by themselves and submitting that to the IRS. That's not a great that's not a great idea. That's not age appropriate. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't 5-year-olds that couldn't figure that out.
Right. I mean,
there
Mozart was
probably
making music at age 5, so
yes.
Couldn't there be 5-year-old tax savants?
There probably could be.
I feel like we're doing them a disservice.
But the issue that you're going to run into is not necessarily that the 5-year-old is incapable of doing it. It's more so that the IRS is going to believe that the 5-year-old is incapable of doing it. And that's where you run into your issues. Because if they see stuff like that, then they're going to start considering doing an audit. And that's not something you want to deal with. So
what the IRS doesn't know doesn't hurt it.
Which they're almost always going to assume on the side that makes things worse for you. I
would never lie to the IRS.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the best concepts that I've ever learned was this was my tax professor in college. He said that one thing to keep in mind as far as taxes are concerned, tax law is written in a way that it makes good things less good and bad things less bad. So if you make a lot of income, you're going to get taxed on it. So it's less good. If you get robbed, you're going to get to write off the loss of the value of that stuff. So it's less bad. So just kind of keep in mind, that's the way tax law is typically written. So good things less good, bad things less bad. But the other problem that a lot of people run into, and this is one of the reasons why we're talking about this this specific subject right now, is because a lot of people are, I say the word afraid because that's really what it is. They're intimidated by the IRS. And honestly, I think that's intentional. It's a reputation that they've created for themselves. And what happens is there's a lot of deductions and expenses that people could be getting that they err on the side of caution on and just don't try. And I think the reality is that creates a lot of problems from a personal perspective of your taxes. And there's a lot of tax benefits that are being left on the table that could be picked up if people were digging into it a little bit more. So so just kind of keep that in mind, that, just because, you aren't sure doesn't mean you shouldn't try from a tax perspective.
Interesting.
So for example, my children are 5 and 4 years old. I have a 5-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl. If I was considering hiring them for my consulting company, because we do mainly sales, marketing, and accounting consulting. We do some tax return preparation as part of the accounting, and it's kind of a package that's included together. But as far as all these things are concerned, that's the majority of the services that we provide. Obviously, my 4-year-old is not going to get on the phone and give any kind of tax advice to any of our clients. That's not an age-appropriate thing, and she is not a savant in tax law and CFO advising. So we're going to avoid that one.
She could give advice. I just don't know that it would
be. Yeah.
She'd give it with a lot of conviction. That's for
sure.
Yes.
She's incredibly confident about her advice, but yeah. So if we were going to have them help us, likely what we would do is pay them for something like, hey, we're thinking about doing a commercial for our business. We'll pay them to be in the commercial. Now, we can't pay them an exorbitant amount of money. Let's say it was a 2-hour ordeal. We can't pay them $100 an hour to do that.
You're not letting them be union, are you?
Nope. No unionization of children.
You should go on strike.
Yep, they should. Yep. But the reality is that's something that they can do. Obviously, because our emphasis is focusing on small businesses and giving time back so you can go back to your family and do the things that you want to do rather than being stuck buried in your accounting work and QuickBooks and stuff like that. Then obviously you want to do that. So that makes sense. Having them help you organize your folders. Hey, I want you to put these stickers on these folders. Yeah, that's something a 5-year-old can do. Arguably. We're trying to color code and organize things. So
Yes,
so that makes sense. Now, are we going to have them driving to deliver stuff to a client? No. And if the IRS looked at that and they saw that was what they were being paid to do, then they would say that's insane. Rightly so. So, those are the things that you want to keep in mind if you're thinking about hiring your children. And the reality is the benefit is definitely there. You know, our business has income, and if we pay our children wages through our business, then there's a cap on how much they can make, on top of the fact they're going to be in a lower tax bracket because they're not making as much money as we are. So most of their income taxes are going to be wiped out by their standard filing rates. They're going to be in a lower tax bracket as well. So even if they do end up having to pay taxes, they're going to be significantly lower actual and figurative tax or effective tax rates. So there's benefits there as well. And it's going to save us taxes on the business side. So things like that just to keep in mind. There is benefit there. Now, things to keep in mind. If you are filed under an S corporation or a C corporation, and I don't know if we've really dived into that very much, so just to kind of give the bullet point recap of what that is, an S corporation is a election that you can file for a business that allows you to get some protections that they offer larger what's called a C corporation. It allows you to have different shareholders that own parts of the company. There's a handful of other benefits that you get, like a 20% reduction in income if you're an active participant in that S corporation. So if you're working in the business, the money that flows through to your tax return gets reduced by 20% before you get taxed on it. So there's huge savings there. So there's things like that you want to keep in mind. Now, it doesn't allow the level of flexibility that a C corporation does, but it allows some of the protections that C corporations get without going to the extreme level of getting a C corporation. And it also allows for significantly less red tape going between yourself and your business. So yeah, as far as things that you want to keep in mind, if you do have an S corporation or a C corporation and you hire one of your children to work for you, you are required by law to pay all of the legal taxes on their payroll. So they are required to pay what's called FICA taxes, which is your federal income taxes, which includes Social Security and Medicare. You're also legally required to pay state taxes and your federal unemployment taxes and your state unemployment taxes. So there's all kinds of things that are going to start coming into effect if you're keeping your children on payroll. So just kind of keep that in mind, that it's going to bump up. If you're paying them $100, it typically bumps it up about 15 to 18% as far as what you're paying them and what it actually costs you. So if you pay them $100, it's likely going to be between $115 and $120 that you're going to be out of pocket as far as what it costs you, because you have to pay them and then you have to remit the tax payments to the IRS. So if you don't do that, you're creating all kinds of red flags for yourself as far as audits are concerned, and you definitely don't want to do that. So yeah, that's the bullet points of hiring a child to work for your business. It's definitely a good idea. You just want to make sure that you jump through all the hoops correctly and do it in a way that's not going to get you in trouble with the IRS, which is not hard to do.
Right.
So,
there's something that I always found very interesting about kind of the dilemma or the paradigm of having your kids, quote, work for you. We're talking about actually like hiring your kids, but let's muddy the water a bit here and say, like, of course, we're on YouTube, and a lot of people put out videos on YouTube and make money off of YouTube. But some of those creators often feature their own family. their own family members in their videos. And so then like there is I don't know if it's right to say a dilemma, but a case for the people who appear in those videos, including the children, are owed a portion of the earnings from those videos that they appear in. And I think there actually have been some cases where children have taken their parents to court over it.
Yeah.
And I think one, like that's pretty crazy.
I mean, they're essentially child actors if you think about it.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. So, like, I'm wondering, like, how many businesses, family businesses, make their kids do stuff to help, but don't actually ever have them on payroll. Because it's just part of the family business, and the money that's made doesn't necessarily just line the pockets of their greedy capitalist parents, but help buy food and clothes for the kids and
right,
keep a roof over their heads and all that stuff.
So likely what you should do if you were actually going to do this, and as far as those specific instances, I don't know. I've not done any kind of research, so I don't know the specifics as far as how they structure the companies. I'm sure probably most of the time it's the parents that are setting things up that way that it flows to them. They may be creating the entity in a way that, let's say that they were doing it through an S corporation, and it's two parents and a child that's doing toy reviews. Let's say, I know that's one of the ones that got really popular there for a while. And let's say that they split it equally three ways, so they all own 33 1/3%, including the child. So likely what would happen there is the money is put into a account specifically for that child, and the child has could have a trust that was set up in their name, so the money would go into that trust, and they would not have access to it until they were 18 years old. There's all kinds of stuff that could arise from situations like this. But as far as if I was making a recommendation, what I would say to do is pay the children wages and put money into a bank account for them. And if you were going to take it a step further, I would actually say set up, and this is you have to be incredibly financially sound mind and disciplined and things like that. Because if you do this wrong, you will ruin your child's future. But what I would recommend doing, if you have that, mental fortitude to take care of them financially and make sure yourself that it's being done, is open up a credit card in their name and pay all of their expenses. So, school, clothing, have them pay a portion of the mortgage, as part of being part of the family. All of that, have them pay it through, from their bank account and from their credit card wherever possible, so that they're accumulating a credit history at a very early age. Now, obviously, I wouldn't do this at 5 years old, but once they get to about 10, 12 years old, where they're actually able to start doing some legitimate work for you, then start setting it up that way. And so what you're doing is, first off, you're creating a strong credit history report for your kid. Second off, they have a bank account history. So they've been being compensated for, let's say they start at the age of 10. They've been getting compensated for 8 years by the time they hit the age of 18. They're also going to be, and make sure that they're responsible for this bank account as well. They need to actually go through the steps of paying the bills and paying for their clothes. They have their own debit card, and if they want to go out with their friends, they turn 16 and they want to go have, some fun with their friends, they go pay for it. If they want to get a car, they are the one that is paying for the car payment and paying for the insurance and things like that. And what you'll be doing is giving them a very strong understanding of how money works before they get out there in the real world and find out, oh, hey, why didn't anybody teach me about this? Because they're sure not going to learn it in school. That's just reality. School does not teach these things, and I have a feeling that the further society advances, the less likely there are to teach this stuff. That's not what school's about. They want to teach you who the president was 200 years ago, and teach you that every single year for 18 years, just to make sure that you know. So, and obviously I'm not saying that this, stuff like that is completely useless information, but I would much rather my child come out of school being financially literate than knowing the name of every president of the United States.
Yeah.
So
I came out with neither.
Yeah. Yeah. I might be able to name like 10 of them. I know Grover Cleveland's one.
Grover Cleveland. Yeah, that's true. That's one. Wasn't George Harrison one?
Maybe. I know George Washington was one.
Oh, that's right. No, sorry. George Harrison was one of the Beatles.
I also know that George Washington was died from one of the most insanely foolish medical treatments ever.
I mean, yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to make you bleed a lot.
A lot. In another 200 years, people are going to say the same thing about so here's what you're going to do is we're going to give you this pill. It's technically poison.
Yeah, we're going to create a whole generation of kids with autism. Have some Tylenol.
How about some red dye number 5?
Oh my goodness. This
will be great for your little swimmers.
Yeah. Oh goodness, ain't that the truth? Yeah. But yeah, no. So if you were going to do that, that's definitely what I would recommend is setting it up in a way that it's going to set your kid up with an advantage by the time he graduates from high school, because that's definitely going to put them way ahead of where they would have been.
Because college isn't getting any cheaper.
Oh,
and
man,
it's a
no
lot harder to work a corner now than when I was in college.
Man, ain't that the truth? Yeah.
So much easier back then.
I feel like I did pretty good. So I don't know about you, but when I went to college,
You worked your corner pretty good.
Yeah, no, I had jobs. I started working at 14 because we talked about this last week a little bit. So
Hey, me too.
So I've had a job 25 years now. Yeah, I've been gainfully employed for 25 years. So when I was in college, yeah, well, I don't know how much I gained from it, but I was technically employed. Yeah. So I know I worked for Hollister for about a year and a half.
You were one of those.
Actually, it's actually kind of a funny story. So
I refused to go into those stores when I was that age.
Yeah. So
it's like those pretentious pricks.
Yeah.
You were one of those.
I actually So
we didn't meet while you were working at Hollister. We'd never be friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, so here's the funny story. So Jordan from the Lawn Tools.
I do.
So he is a really good friend of mine. He got a job there, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do because this was after I got back from my year at Union. So I didn't have a job at that point. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I got home, and I had worked in construction at I can't remember the name of the construction group there, but it was one of the ones there in Lincoln, and I worked there for the majority of it. And then the last 3 months, I worked as a janitor in one of the, I think it was in the math and science building. Where I worked with Javon. We were working as the janitors for that building. He was on the 3rd floor, and I was on the 1st and 2nd floor. Anyway, so I was talking to Jordan. He tells me that they have some positions open. So I go there. I was like, well, I mean, it's a job. I'll go over there and get a job. And at this point, I think I was 20 years old, almost 21. So this was 2007, I believe. So I go over there and we interviewed for the job, and they had 2 positions open. So
how do you interview for that?
So they're group interviews. They literally just take a pile of applications, and the mall that it was at was a promenade, so it was an outdoor mall. So they have this little seating area that was right outside of the store. So they took 6 of us out there, and we all sat down. I think they hired every single one of the people that was there.
So they didn't really care. They just needed
they
warm body.
were looking for bodies. Yeah. Well, of the 6 people that were with me in that group, I think 5 of them ended up being what's called a floor model. So if you walk into a Hollister, the people that are working at the front are required to dress and wear Hollister clothing. At least within a certain level of reason. You don't have to wear only Hollister, but you have to wear that style of clothing.
Did they make you buy the clothes?
Yes. But they gave you a 10 or 20% discount or something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
They should just given you clothes.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the benefit is you got access to the sales stuff before anybody else did. So, if they had something on clearance, you still got 20% off of it. So, I think I paid $4 for a shirt. But
this is okay. This is just non sequitur. One of the things that grinds my gears is companies we're going to hire you to do a job, and we want you to dress a certain way, but you're going to have to pay for it.
Well, they didn't.
Excuse me?
They didn't require you to wear only their clothing. So it wasn't you didn't have to have Hollister clothing only.
You should have shown up in full American Eagle gear.
Well, that was what you could not do. You could not have visible logos from other companies. So, yeah. So the 5 of the group got hired as floor models.
Right.
I was a stock boy. So talk about a hit to my confidence.
With that charming smile.
Yeah.
Really wanted you
Yeah,
back
exactly. Yeah. So, but the funny part was, after I'd worked there for about a year, I found out that I was basically the best employee that they had. The first day that I got there, it was the first shift. The store manager, I don't even remember I think his name was Merrill or something like that.
Merrill.
Yeah, so with these people, this is your first manager job right out of college. That's the kind of people that are doing this. Because I'm fairly positive that the store manager got $30,000 at this time. So, yeah. So I get there. They do you in 5-hour blocks. So your shift is 5 hours. Now they might put you back to back on a shift, but you're required to have a 1-hour break between shifts. So I show up for my first shift, and he takes me into the back and walks, shows me how all the stuff works and where everything goes, and explains how the numbering system works and all the SKUs and how to scan stuff, because we had to make sure that we kept accurate inventory and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so we end up. He gives me a box of the bracelets, like the leather bracelets and the rope bracelets and necklaces and stuff like that. And he's like, hey, this box is basically just a bunch of junk that people have like screwed up the display case, and we've been trying to get it organized. I need you to sort this stuff and organize it. So I was like, okay. It was a pretty good sized box. There was probably 200 or 300 different, wristbands and necklaces and stuff in it. Probably 90% of them were all labeled and everything. So he puts me back there, and this was literally 5 minutes into my shift. Like I met a couple people. I met the two other, like the lead stock and the assistant stock manager that worked there in the back, and then one of the other assistant manager that was on duty at that time, because Merrill, I think, was leaving at that point, or he was about to. And so he sets me up at this table and says, "Hey, I need you to get just sort through this." It took me like 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, so I go over there. I go find him because, there's like 15 back rooms that I had to look through to find him. So I go find him, and I was like, hey, is there something else you want me to do? I'm done with that box. And he's like, what do you mean you're done with that box? And I said, come back here, I'll show you. So he comes back there in the back, and I have everything like perfectly organized and separated into the segments that it's supposed to go. And I've scanned everything and all that stuff. And he's like, how did you do that so fast? And I was like, what do you mean? That was like the easiest thing I've ever done. He's like, that should have taken you, that would have taken any of our floor models 5 hours to do.
There's a reason why they're floor models.
And I was like, well, yeah. So he's like, I guess you can go out on the floor and start folding clothes. So after that, which this is one of those things where I didn't realize that I had screwed myself on my first day. They had me as, yeah, no kidding. So they used me as their display specialist. So when they had a new display to set up, I would tear down the old one and then put up the new one because I could do it faster than anybody else. The problem with that is you got to do that before the store opens. So I was on the 5 a.m. shift, which it was a 45-minute drive from my house to the store.
Yikes.
Yeah. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I've done those early morning jobs. They suck.
Yeah, that was not fun at all. But I ended up working there for like a year and a half. It wasn't a bad job. I don't know if I'm legally supposed to say this, but it was 20 years ago. What are they going to do? So they are required to throw out the light bulbs that they have after a certain amount of time, because I guess they technically have like an expiration date for like the lamps that they use on the floor.
Okay.
They had, I think it was 6 cases. Now, at this time, so this was 2007, I believe the light bulbs were like $12 a piece. They were like those high-end, super, super strong halogen, like can light bulbs.
Right, but wait a second. I thought they hardly used the lights in that store anyway, which is part of how they sold their clothes.
Well, they don't, and that's why the light bulbs were so specific. Like, they're a very special type of light bulb. And there's probably only like 30 of them out on the floor, and you have to replace them the second it goes out. Like, that's one of the corporate policies or whatever. So
okay,
they had the corporate had just sent the new shipment of light bulbs. Well, they didn't have anywhere to put the old ones. There was like, we had like just gotten slammed with a bunch of new orders. There was nowhere to put them. And like, well, we're just going to throw them away. I said, okay, well, I'll throw them away. And I just took them and put them in the back of my car. And I believe it was like $200 worth of lights, because it was 6 cases and there was like 15 in each case. And we used those at my parents' house for a long time. They were like little furnaces because they were so hot. Oh my goodness!
That's why the floor models walked around without hardly any clothes on.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It's like walking around with a space heater in every light bulb in that room. But yeah, no, they are legitimately that hot. But yeah, so so I got a big bonus that day.
It's the little things.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe they were going to throw them out.
Is Hollister really even around anymore? I want to say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still a store.
I mean, I don't go to malls anymore, obviously, because like I'm over 40 and I have a life.
Yeah, I went to a mall a few weeks ago, mainly just because the kids want to ride the escalator.
Was it horrible?
It wasn't terrible. I mean, we literally, like, the thing is there's a lot of geek/nerd stores in the mall now.
It's become chic.
Yeah. So we went to the one over in Tulsa fairly recently, which I did not realize they actually have a Scheels in that one. That's the closest Scheels to me.
Oh, is it the one with the indoor Ferris wheel?
Yeah.
Okay. I know they didn't all used to have them. They rebuilt the one out here. And
I think it does. I'm not positive. I don't think I've even ever been to the one in Tulsa. I just know they have one because I looked it up after we came and visit y'all, and I went and looked, and the closest one to us is in Tulsa, and I was like, well, I don't even know where it would be, and it's literally at the mall there in Tulsa. We just never go to that end of the mall.
Sure. Oh, it's probably not. What is it, an outdoor mall?
Nope, it's indoor.
Oh, so
we usually stay on the Cheesecake Factory
big one. Oh yeah, as one does.
Of course. Yeah.
Hey, you want to hear something funny?
Sure.
This cracks me up. I just, out of curiosity, went to Hollister's website. They have a collection that is Hollister X Taco Bell. They literally have clothing with Taco Bell things like Liv Moss and like the Bell iconography.
Okay, now like Taco Bell is one of my favorite restaurants, so I might have to buy the most skin tight shirt that's ever been worn from Hollister because I know their sizes only go up to like extra small.
Yeah. So
yes, I said up to extra small.
You need to get the one that has the ingredient list for the 7-layer burrito.
Oh man, ain't that the truth?
It's called 7 layers of total bliss: seasoned rice, refried beans, sour cream, lettuce, tomato, cheese, guacamole. They have pants with like the hot sauce packets on the rear pocket.
Nice.
What the heck?
I feel like I've been missing out. Man, I
don't know if I would say you were missing out, but
they have jeans that say Liv Moss and have all of the hot sauce packets on them.
Yep, they do.
Man, that's just they have socks.
I can't look at this.
And they look
anymore.
like they've been worn.
Of course they do.
So what a wonderful world we live in.
I think I've been into a Hollister about, I think I can count on one hand the number of times I've actually been in a Hollister. I had a high school friend who worked at one. I went and visited her at work once. And then when I met my wife, she used to love going in there because they always had a live video feed to a beach in Southern California that she used to go to because she's from California. It might have been Hollister Beach.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that a beach in California? Yeah. So she used to go in there to look at the beach, and I was just like, why?
When I started there...
I just don't get it.
Yeah. When I started there, they have like a jukebox. I don't know if most people don't know this, but you can pick whatever song. At least you could whenever I was there. Of course, this was before iPods and all that stuff. Like, they existed, but it wasn't anywhere near like what there are today.
Gosh, you're old.
Yeah. So there was about 30 songs on this jukebox that you could pick from, and they changed it about once every decade. And you could not control them there at the store. The songs were downloaded by corporate onto the jukebox. There was about 5 songs that I liked when I started there. And by the time I quit, there was 30 songs that I hated. And I had every single one memorized.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so speaking of working at Hollister, because that was one of my many storied jobs.
Yeah.
That's a good segue for our second topic.
Yeah.
Which is the millionaire 7 sources of income. So I've been hearing a lot about this in the past few years, because I know a lot of these financial podcasts have kind of taken off recently. They're way more popular on YouTube and stuff like that. And the thing that I hear very regularly is that the average millionaire has 7 sources of income. So they've got, which very unlikely if they're a millionaire that they actually have like a standard W-2 job, but it is possible. So I was like, okay,
I wouldn't have a standard job if I was a millionaire.
Well, and so I started doing some digging on this, because I am definitely one of those people who does not always believe that a correlation equals causation. So just because most millionaires have 7 sources of income doesn't mean that they had 7 sources of income that made them a millionaire. I could create 7 sources of income literally right now. That doesn't mean I'm going to be a millionaire in any kind of reasonable amount of time.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I started digging into, is what really makes it to a point where you need to have 7 sources of income? Or is it just once you build 7 sources of income, it's too easy to make money and you're going to become a millionaire? What is it that's really driving that belief or that understanding that, once you hit the magic number of 7 sources of income, you're a millionaire? So I started digging into that a little bit. And one of the biggest things that I found is that most did not start with 7. So it wasn't like I went out and just said, okay, I'm going to create as many sources of income as I possibly can. It actually is more of a correlation around creating one that starts to spill over into other sources of income.
Okay.
So, let's use sales for example. So, if you start out in a job in sales, you're selling, let's just say real estate, because I know a lot of real estate agents are out there in the world today, and I know that's a way that as far as commissions go, you get a big commission whenever you're doing it. So, You start out your first year, you sell 3 houses. Okay, well, the average price of a house right now is $420,000. Let's do some quick math. So, $420,000, and if you're the buyer and the seller's real estate agent, at least up until recently, I think you would get both sides of the commission. So that's 6%. So that's putting you at $25,000 for that one house. Okay, so let's say you sell 3.
Dang. Okay.
Now, you may not sell them but once every quarter. But let's say for your first year, as you're getting into it and trying to build up your client base, because the reality is there's a lot of competition in real estate as well.
Right.
You know, how many real estate agents do you know? I know 7 off the top of my head.
2.
Yeah. Like
the 2 that sold us their house.
Yeah. Well, you actually know more than that, because I guarantee you know some of the ones that I know.
No, okay, it's true. That's true.
I'm not talking about ones you actually use. I'm talking about ones that you just know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I do know a couple others.
Yeah, exactly.
So like 4.
Yeah. And I'd be willing to bet that if you counted, you probably would get closer to 10 pretty quick.
Yeah. What are you drinking? Is that cough syrup?
It's called Karma.
Oh.
Probiotic.
Karma.
This week's unofficial sponsor. It's
Karma.
Karma Probiotic Water. This one is blueberry lemonade flavor. So
Karma. For not the health effects you want, but the ones you deserve.
Yes, exactly. No, we started drinking that. When was this? Probably around January, I think. We had just a 2023 and 2024. Like I got sick constantly. Now, I think probably a little bit was just because of, stress and not getting as much sleep as I should have. We had at that point, a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. That's just kind of comes with the territory, and starting a business and, quitting my W-2 job and all that stuff. There was just a lot of stuff on our plate. So we got sick. I think I had 4 different rounds of antibiotics in a matter of like a year. And I think Anna had like 9. Now she has I think she has a deviated septum on both sides of her nose, but it's some kind of genetic defect because I believe her dad has the same issue. The right side, her septum is basically collapsed. And so anytime she gets even a cold, it almost every time turns into a sinus infection, and then straight up bronchitis.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. And I think she's had pneumonia like 3 times. So it's as soon as she gets any kind of cold, we instantly go get her antibiotics, just because her she's actually trying to figure out if that's something she can get surgery on, because if she gets that fixed, it should keep her from having that infection all the time and all that stuff. But anyway, so we had been doing some research and just obviously when you eat that many or take that many antibiotics, your system gets so out of whack that every time you get sick, you're killing the good bacteria with the bad and all that stuff. So we were like, okay, we need to figure out something. Well, we started doing some research and we found this stuff at Sam's Club, and bought it and started trying it. And I think we've been drinking it I think it was around January of this year, but it might have been last year that we started drinking it. But it has so the cap, I don't know if you can tell, the cap has a little button in there, which is where all the prebiotic cultures stay. They're actually separated from the liquid until you break that seal, and that's when it activates everything and all that stuff. We have had way less issues getting sick this past year because we've been drinking those consistently. And in all honesty, even if they're not actually, providing a prebiotic benefit in any capacity. They're also pretty good drinks. They have a decent flavor, and they're only 20 calories. So it's like, why not? So we usually get a case of those every time we go to Sam's Club or anything like that. So, yeah, check them out. They're definitely worth trying. And they just started making them. They're caffeinated now. So,
yeah. Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, so you can drink one before your workout in the morning.
It depends how much caffeine they have.
I think it's close to what's in like a normal energy drink. So I think it's between 60 and 80, I believe. Now they're a little bit bigger because this is a 18 fluid ounce drink.
Only 60 to 80?
That's a cup of coffee.
Those are rookie numbers.
Your heart is going, Ricky. Your heart is going to explode.
It's going to explode?
Yes.
If it was going to explode, it would have already.
Yeah. Oh, man.
When I first met you.
Oh, man. Anyway, back to 7 sources of income. Thanks for the kind words from our kind product providing being provided by our sponsor. Yeah. Words. You know what? It's kind of fitting because karma means what goes around comes on your face. I mean, comes around. Oh, man.
Threaten me with a good time.
Yeah. No, so anyway, so we're talking about real estate. So, okay, you're a real estate agent. You've sold 3 houses in your first year. Okay, so if you sell the average price of a house right now, you sell 3 houses, you're looking at around $75,000. Okay?
I thought you said $25,000. Oh, you'd say in total
for the 3. Yeah, you sold 3 houses at $25,000, so you're at $75,000 and some change. Okay.
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad. But that's going to cover your mortgage and your bills.
Yeah.
You don't have a ton of money, you're not rolling in the dough yet. Okay. Now, let's say that you do a 50% increase on that in year 2. So you sell, 5 smaller houses or, 1 more bigger house or whatever. Now you're at what? Yes, stupid.
Yeah, Windows.
Okay, so now you're at 113. Okay, well, if you're single, that's pretty good money. If you're married and have kids, that's decent money, but most of it's going to go towards the family. Okay, so you're still not rolling in the dough yet. But let's say you keep up and you do another 50% increase the next year.
Oh.
If I can...
Hand over fist.
Okay, now you're at 170. Okay. You've got, 7 houses that you sold this year. You're doing pretty good. Okay. So when you're looking at that, you're like, okay, well, how much does it cost to actually run my household for the year? $120,000. So I have a $50,000 surplus. All my bills are paid. I've got some, some investments going. We have, the cars are running. We have an investment. I mean, we have a savings account that's starting to get some money in there. We've got our emergency fund for 3 months. We're starting to set aside. So, okay, I've got $50,000 surplus of income. Now, let's just say that you kind of kept it around that and we're being conservative and increased it by only like 2% each year after that. You're basically keeping up with inflation. So, okay, you're at 173 the next year. Okay, you're still at a roughly $50,000 surplus. So, okay, well, after 3 or 4 years, and you're still running at that $50,000 surplus, assuming that your lifestyle expenses are not going crazy in the meantime, then after 4 years, let's say on the conservative side that you wanted to invest half of that. You've got $100,000 that you've got to put somewhere. Okay, well, what are you going to do with that? That money is going to start spilling over into something else. I'm going to buy some Coca-Cola stock and start getting some dividends. So I'm going to get 4% off of that. So I'm going to take that $100,000 and just put it into Coca-Cola, and I'm going to get 4%. Hang on. Okay.
So it seems that what you're getting at is anytime you end up having a surplus of cash, instead of just blowing it all, you you put it into another venture of some sort that will then make profit again.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
even if it's a conservative, even if
over.
you're just like, hey, you know what, the stock market is crazy right now. I don't feel like investing in a company is going to make me any money because I think they're going to go down in value. Which, you know, even if you're assuming that, it's still a safer bet to go with the stock market than it is for a lot of things. Now, don't just put money in and take it back out immediately. But if you're doing long-term investing, stock market is still one of the best ways to make a good return on your investment. Not necessarily the safest, but as far as return on investment goes. But yeah, so as that, you don't put another dime in there. You just put that $100,000 into Coca-Cola, and let's assume, you know, obviously this is a big assumption, but let's assume that they stayed marginally static as far as what they were valued at for 10 years. After 10 years, you've made $42,000 in dividends off of that Coca-Cola.
I mean, if you're not doing anything, that's good, right?
Now, now you've created a secondary source of income for yourself. So you're not making $184,000 a year. You're actually making $184 plus the $4,000 that you're getting in dividends. Okay. Well, now you've got $142,000 in assets in Coca-Cola. Do you want to keep that going? Do you want to keep getting that 4%? Because now at the end of year 10, you're looking at, you know, almost $5,500 that you're getting per year in dividends. And that's going to keep scaling up just from the interest or from the dividends going back into your account, as long as you're not taking that money out. So you're still making the $50,000 surplus. And, you know, let's say that you decided you wanted to expand a little bit. Okay, I'm going to hire another real estate agent to work underneath me. So now my income has gone from 185 to, let's do a 25% increase. Now you're at 230. Okay, so you've got a approximately $110,000 surplus of income compared to what you were looking at originally, as long as you're, you know, being conservative. And I'm not even saying put 100% of your surplus into investments. Just be smart about it. But I mean, even if you did half of it, that's a significant investment strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got $110,000. I'm going to buy a rental property. Okay. So, yes, that's money that's you're not going to make a killing off of, but you're going to buy a rental property. So let's say you're buying let's just say you're going to use 100. So you're going to save up for 2 years. You've got $110,000 surplus for 2 years, and you're only going to put 50% into an investment. So you're at $110,000. Divided by, actually 0.2. Okay, so that you're going to be able to buy with a 20% down investment, because that's usually what you have to do from a real estate perspective, unless you get really lucky or you're going to try other systems of acquiring it, which is like moving in and living there for 2 years and stuff like that. That's a $550,000 house. Okay, so if you're buying that rental property and you're doing a good return on investment, then your rent should be around 1% of what you financed. So you're at $5,500 a month, I believe is the metric. I would have to confirm that one, because if that 360, yeah. So 1%. So if you did it on a 30-year loan, then you've paid probably around 1.4 million, and you would have generated 1.9 million in rent. Because if you're 550 times 360 payments, because that's your per month,
right,
is $1.98 million. So, okay, now you have 3 sources of income. You've got rental income, which is cash flow. As far as how much you're actually keeping, you've still got repairs and maintenance. So I would say you probably want to be careful with what kind of rental property you're investing in. Make sure you vet your renters and stuff like that. But let's say that your mortgage is $4,500 a month, and you're renting it for $5,500 a month. Now you've created $12,000 of income surplus per year, minus your repairs and maintenance costs and stuff like that. So cut it in half. Let's say you've got $6,000 of income. So now you've got $110,000 of surplus, plus $4,000 of dividend income, plus $6,000 of rental income surplus. So you're like, okay, well, I'm still at a $110,000 surplus per year. I'm going to buy part of a business. I'm doing well in the real estate world. I'm going to go invest in another real estate company. I'm going to buy 20% of that. I've got enough money to put down and pick that up. Okay, well, what this shows me, and what a lot of the research that I did showed me, was that what's really happening is it's one source of income spilling over and eventually creating 7 sources of income, and that's when they became millionaires.
So it's like it's just like a chain. It's a chain effect.
Mm-hmm.
Where you
make one making you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And let that spill over into 6 others that are making you some money.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You just got to find the things that are right for you to invest that money in.
Yes. And obviously, no matter what you invest in, no matter what kind of business you start, there's always going to be risk associated with it. Right. So there's no guarantees. If you had a magic 8-ball that told you exactly what you needed to do every time, there'd be a lot more billionaires in the world, and then money would be meaningless.
Some days I would not mind that.
Ain't that the truth?
You'd be out of a job.
Yeah. But I wouldn't need one because money wouldn't mean anything.
Hey.
Yeah. So anyway, this is probably a topic we could dive into a little bit more, but I just wanted to kind of touch base on that because I know there's a lot of financial podcast and education channels that are talking about it. And the more I heard it, the more I was like, well, I need to research this, because I would be willing to bet that the vast majority of them did not start out with just 7 sources of revenue. Because I can go out right now and I could buy, $100 of Coca-Cola stock, and get a 4% dividend on that, and I'm getting $4 a year.
Woo.
Yeah, I mean, even in 10 years, that's going to be $5.50. Big deal, you know?
Yeah.
Yes, having that secondary source of income is going to add to, so to speak, my net worth.
Right.
But it's not necessarily guaranteeing me that I'm going to become a millionaire any faster. And creating seven crappy sources of income is not nearly as effective as creating one good one that spills over and creates 6 others.
So you have to be kind of discerning on what you're investing that extra money into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
So those are our lessons for the week from a finance perspective. So next we're gonna dive into, because I know this was something that I found out. I was listening to another podcast. I don't remember what it was. I think it's the Makeshift podcast. They were talking about the wealthiest families in movies.
Oh.
And I caught him on one because, I think Tony Stark family is worth like $500 billion or something like that. And the royal family of Wakanda is worth like 500 trillion or something like that because of the value of the vibranium and all the stuff. And yeah, whatever. I don't know what these numbers are being based off of, but they talked about, and this is the segue into our Flop or Not series this week, is the McCallister family from the Home Alone series. Said they were valued at like 200 or $25 billion or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I don't know where that number is coming from other than just the house that they lived in.
Right.
And the value of the vacations that they pay to go on. But
they're all flying to France.
Yeah, it was 25. I think there was 25 people that were being paid to fly to France. But anyway, whatever the situation was, I had a hard time believing that was correct. But the thing that was so glaringly obvious to me, and what's funny about it, is they completely excluded Macaulay Culkin's other famous work, Richie Rich. I don't know if you ever remembered seeing that movie.
Yeah,
but I believe they said they were worth $80 billion.
80 billion.
Yes. Now in the 90s, that's worth like 150 trillion now.
Holy crap.
But yeah, no, I believe, and I did not have a chance to look this up. But I am going to look it up right now.
Dude, I'm looking at that Home Alone house right now.
Yeah, no, I've actually seen, like, they did a documentary series on that house and showed the inside of the house. It is an immaculate house, and they did all of the filming in that actual house.
Well, it's a 9,000 square foot house. Is there pictures? Just one picture. Come on. Here's what I want to know. Like, the attic. Was the attic real? Was that actually
I believe it was so. I believe it was. I believe
That's
all of the shots that were made in that house. It is enormous. I think it was actually remodeled in the last like 10, 15 years.
2018.
Was that it? Okay. I thought it was fairly recently, but I couldn't remember exactly when it was. So so this is what Google says they were estimated to be worth was $23.9 billion. This was the
McCallister family.
No, the Richie Rich family.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna see how much. The McCallister family is from Home Alone, because I think that might have been what happened. Is they might have gotten those mixed up.
They want $5.5 million. Well, okay, it's $5.5 million.
Okay,
was the last they were sold for.
So this estimates that their income would have had to have been in 1990 around $305,000 a year. Now, obviously that does not put them into the billionaire range.
Right.
So I think they might have mixed those up. But yeah. So anyway, so I was gonna dive into Home Alone 1. That's our flop or not. So what I was gonna do this week is I want you to guess from here when the first Home Alone movie flopped. Now I'm going to give you because I don't know if you knew this. There's 6 of them.
I mean, I knew there were at least 3 or 4.
Yes,
but
there is 6 of them. Yes. So what I was going to do is make you predict when the first one flopped.
4. I feel like
you think it was 4? Okay.
Yeah,
I have not looked at these numbers yet, so I don't know definitively when they started falling off. I'm gonna gamble on 3. I feel like the quality of the movie fell off so hard after Macaulay Culkin left the series because he was only in 1 and 2.
Wait, but then they made 4 more.
That listen, I'm not arguing with you there. I have this gut feeling that the flops, because technically a flop means they didn't make anything in the box office. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean they didn't make any money off of it. I'm just gambling on the was it a flop in the box office? I'm gonna gamble number 3 was a flop. So we're gonna start with number 1. So number 1, I'm sure everybody who's anybody has seen the Home Alone movie. It's one of the original is easily in the top 5 funniest Christmas movies of all time for me. It's probably my quintessential. Well, I like number 2 better than the first one. The second one, they just hit all of the slapstick perfectly. I mean, just there was some funny scenes in the first one, but they hit them all. I mean, it was like a piece of art to watch Harry and Marv just get destroyed in that house that was being renovated in the second one. The budget for the first one, and I'm actually surprised that I maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know. So the budget for the first movie, $18 million. I'm shocked that it was that low. I kind of thought it would have been a little bit higher. But thinking back,
I mean, this was 1990.
Yeah, 1990. That's why I say the 90s were a weird time for movies because they had just figured out that formula for making excellent quality without spending a ton of money.
Yeah.
So they made a killing in the box office.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this was released November 16, 1990. So I was 4 years old.
Yikes.
Yeah. Box office $477 million. Wow. Rounded. 476.7. But yeah, I'm just going to round to the nearest million for these. So yeah, they did well. Did well for the first one. So second one, Home Alone Lost in New York. This one's my favorite. Like the scene where Harry sets his head on fire with the torch, and then he just does the handstand on the toilet and dunks it into the kerosene, and it just zooms out to the building and shows the building spark, and then like almost immediately Marv slips on the cans of paint and slides on the grease on the ground and slides into the cans of paint and gets covered in paint, and then he goes over to the sink to try to clean the paint off, and like when he turns into a skeleton because he's screaming because he's got the car jump start cables on the back of the sink, and he turns into a skeleton while he's screaming. I think that's one of 5 times in my entire life that I've cried because I was laughing so hard. Like I couldn't breathe. That's just so funny. So this one is definitely one of my favorites. Okay, so do you think it did better or worse than the first one?
Man, I feel like, it's going to ride hard on the coattails of the first one, but I'm going to say it didn't do as well.
You're right, actually. So I was kind of surprised. So the budget was 28 million, and they box office 359 million. So they still did incredibly well on this movie, just not quite as well as they did with the first one. So this was in 92 and released 4 days on the calendar after. So it was November 20 instead of November 16. But yeah, 1992. So that was the second one. So we're going into Home Alone 3. This one was made in 1997. So
and this one in particular didn't have Macaulay Culkin either.
It did not. This is the first one in the series that did not have Macaulay Culkin. So this is 5 years later. It also didn't have Harry and Marv, which I believe were a huge portion of the success.
Oh yeah,
of the first
Joe Pesci,
two. Yeah,
Pesci was
so
funny.
Yeah,
in those movies.
yeah. So, okay, so I was wrong. I think you might be. I think you might win on this one. So, this was still apparently riding on the coattails of 1 and 2. The budget was 32 million. So it's actually gone up about 4 million since the last one.
Yeah.
This was released in December 12 of 1997. I don't recognize any of the characters that play like the bad guys, but there's 4 bad guys in this one. They also lost John Williams as the composer. So this is the first one that he was not the composer, which, obviously that's a mega hit there because, anything he writes music for is just excellent. So yeah, they box officed 79.1 million. So huge drop off from 2, but still made a little bit over double what their budget was as far as box office ticket sales. So I think they did fairly well with that one. So I have a feeling that your gamble was going to be correct. I thought it might have been closer to the third one that they fell off and did not make any money. So okay, so
Scarlett Johansson was in that movie.
Was she really?
Yeah, she was the 12-year-old sister.
Okay.
The older sister.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So apparently John Hughes was the main writer for the first 2 or 3. So I believe he at least contributed to Home Alone 3. Home Alone 4 is the first one where he was not associated with it at all either. So this was made in 2002, and it was a direct-to-television movie. So I don't even know if there's going to be there's no financial information about this one at all. So I would be willing to bet that this one fell off a little bit. Let's see. Reception. Got 1 out of 5 stars. Unappealing, cheapish opening titles.
This is the Home Alone 4.
Correct. Yeah. Recycled gags, but none of the original charm. You have to wonder why they bother. So not well.
Yikes.
Yeah, so that one did not do well. Okay, so here's number 5. I have a feeling this was a direct-to-TV. Yeah, so I guess we're not going to know. Number 5 got negative reviews as well. It was apparently a television film that released on DVD in 2013. It grossed 996,000 in home video sales. It doesn't say anything about the production cost or anything like that.
It makes you wonder why they kept.
No, it does. Budget of $11 million.
Yikes.
$11 million,
Wait.
and they sold 996,000. So
Ooh.
huge. So I guess I would say based on the reception, maybe this does have the information for number 3 on here. Production, Cape Town. Nope, it does not. Yeah, so okay. Home Alone, Home Sweet Home Alone. Okay, so this is I believe this one was in the theaters. It was not. It was directly to Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't
yeah,
look
we are in
like.
the streaming era now. They can save a lot of money just doing it straight to
Yeah.
streaming, so that's not a surprise.
Yeah, no, there's no information as far as what their budget was or any kind of sales or anything like that. Because obviously it's released on Disney Plus, so it's hard to really give any kind of metrics. I may do some digging on that in the future and find out if they have some kind of monetary system as far as because I know like especially when Disney Plus first came out that I think Scarlett Johansson got into a little bit of a tiff with Disney, their contract because, what was that movie that they made? She's the secret agent chick in the Marvel series. I don't know why I can not think of her name.
Black Widow?
Black Widow, yes. Yeah, the standalone movie that they made for her. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name of that. Yes. Look, I'm probably in the enormous minority.
It's getting late for Clint.
Yeah, no, it's really not. Like I'm probably in the enormous minority here, but I just have never really thought that Scarlett Johansson was nearly as hot as everybody says she is.
Hot take.
Yeah. And I probably will be laughed out of whatever room I walked into, but I would say Sydney Sweeney is in that same category as far as I'm concerned. Like, I just don't think either one of them are that like mega attractive. I'm not saying they're ugly. I just don't think they're like top 10 maxim of all time. Like, you know.
I mean, I'm with you on ScarJo, but no, I don't know that I can. Don't know if I can go down that road with you on Sydney.
That's okay, Ricky. We're allowed to have different preferences.
We are. Even if you're wrong.
Yeah. I probably am, but that's okay. Oh man. Okay, so yeah, that was our Flop or Not series for this week. So we're gonna stay largely Christmas based for the next 3 weeks. So I'm gonna I'm gonna give Ricky a hint and see if he can figure out which one. Give him a riddle for the ones we're gonna do next week. And the hint I'm going to give you is that tinsel is not just for decorations.
Oh, I know what this is.
Do you?
I didn't say
Don't tell him. I want you to see if you can figure it out, because that's the hint that I'm going to give. Is that
man? That's an easy hint, man.
Is
you gotta
it?
make it a lot harder. Oh yeah, dude.
Okay. Well, I'm going to see if I can come up with a harder hint for the ones that I'm going to do next week. But the
overall better series than the Home Alone series. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
yeah, I don't disagree there. Okay, so yeah, for this week for our going deep with Dick. Obviously,
Yeah.
we've Ricky has had a little bit of a tiring week. I know I probably have too with the Thanksgiving travels and stuff like that. But yeah, so I know we talked about a couple of different things before we officially started recording this week. But I was thinking about I've been compiling a list of a list of rules that I wanted to kind of share with everybody and with Rick with Mr. Dick here. So I'm sure a lot of people out there are familiar with Jordan Peterson's work. Let me see if I can find. There we go. And I read a summary. I haven't read his whole book, the whole book. I would like to, but I haven't read the whole book.
You're talking about the 12 Rules for Life?
Yes, the one about 12 Rules for Life. And so I started to think about things in terms of like if I wanted to pass something down to my son or to my daughter as far as, characteristics or rules for how I would want them to behave or how I think it would be like best for information to get on, like to pass on to the next generation and help, be better people, be better fathers, be better wives, husbands, stuff like that. So I just started compiling a list of, things that were thoughts that I had or things that I heard, and most of them were things that I kind of came up with myself. I'm sure there's probably some level of inspiration coming from other places, so I didn't have any sources or anything like that. But I was, going through my list, and I thought it might be kind of a cool little, add-in to talk about. And one of the ones that I did think would be a good one to talk about is just because it's a hard pill to swallow doesn't mean it shouldn't be swallowed. So, I know for me personally that self-reflection and it's, my personality, I'm definitely very analytical, almost to my own detriment a lot of the time. But self-reflection and analyzation is something that I know I'm very guilty of a lot of times, and being able to reflect and think about things that I fall short on, whether it's letting my temper get the better of me whenever I'm as a father. I'm sure a lot of fathers can relate to that when you're exhausted and you're at the end of your patience rope, so to speak, that it's easy to just get so frustrated that you say something unkind, or you say it in an unkind tone, or you yell, or you punish too harshly, or whatever you want to say. And I know for me personally that as soon as I calm down and take a step back from the situation and actually reflect on it, I realized that that's not the way that I wanted to react in that situation. I didn't want to yell at my children because they were outside playing and just, having a good time, even though they were screaming while doing it. So, as far as, having a hard pill to swallow, when you figure out what your shortcomings are, there's really two ways that you can go. And one of them is just embracing it and saying, yeah, this is just who I am. This is the kind of person that I am. This is the weakness that I have, whatever. And this is just going to be my crutch for the rest of my life. Or you can go down the road less traveled and say, okay, you know what? Just because I have a tendency to have a bad temper, for me personally, I've had to deal with a bad temper for the majority of my life. I used to get in fights with some of my closest friends in kindergarten over some of the stupidest things. And that's one of the things that I have had to work on my entire life, getting my temper under control. And it still gets away from me sometimes. My mom says that I'm a perfect example that God has a sense of humor, because when she was pregnant, she was praying that I would be born with my dad's voice. And she should have specified the quantity, not the quality. Or sorry, the quality, not the quantity. Because my dad has a great singing voice, which, I've been fortunately blessed to be able to sing reasonably well. I hope I'm not sounding too conceited in saying I don't like bragging on myself, but I've been told I can sing well. So unless everybody that has ever told me that has been lying, that I can probably sing okay. And but in all seriousness, there's still times when I don't think about my tone or how loud I'm talking or things like that, and my voice gets away from me, and I'm not meaning to shout. Anna and I have had plenty of conversations where she gets irritated at me, and she's definitely starting to adjust now. We've been together for 10 years now and married for 7. So she's definitely gotten significantly more adjusted to what me yelling versus me just being passionate about what I'm saying sounds like. I'm sure Ricky knows what it sounds like when I yell back from our Call of Duty and or Halo years. Oh, I'm sure that the entire campus at Union probably could attest to what it sounds like when I yell.
The whole apartment complex knew exactly what it was like as well.
Yeah. But yeah, just from the perspective of, take a step back and just because it's difficult to do, it's hard to deal with, hard to process, doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't, so that's my thought for the day. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I do, actually, because I have one of my mentors early in my career had a saying that he got from someone else that I've kind of kept with me for a long time, and that was that nothing has to be done right now. And the idea was that we don't have to make decisions in a moment of emotion.
Yep.
It's good to take time to sometimes, cool down and allow the logic center of your brain to reactivate a little better, because often that's what happens when we get in the heat of it. The emotion takes over, and the logic center is somewhat crowded out of the decision making process, and sometimes that's a good thing. Like if you need to react quickly in particular situations, the going through the logic, the analysis slows things down. But if it's not a fight or flight situation, then you don't have to make a decision on this right now.
Yeah.
It can wait an hour or half a day or, longer if need be, for you to make a much better decision that is grounded in reality and logic and not just the heat of the moment emotional reaction.
Right. Yeah, that's very true.
Right now.
Yeah.
So,
good point.
And I think that also speaks to like relationships. Like I know one of the things that I always heard growing up was, um, you're never supposed to go to bed angry with your significant other. And I think that kind of forces people into reconciling at a point where they may not be ready or maybe still too emotional. And you know what? Sometimes you gotta sleep off. Sometimes you gotta sleep it off, that that heightened state until you can like I know for me, like I generally get up early and do my own, meditation and self-reflection stuff and journaling in the morning, and that's when I have some of the best clarity. Um, when I'm at the end of the day and I'm tired and I'm kind of worn down, like I don't think as well as I do when I'm first up in the morning. So, the whole don't go to bed angry thing is kind of a load of crap because, if you're trying to force the issue when you're not ready, like it's not going to make it better.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because then you end up conceding and not having thought it through logically. You end up conceding, and then you feel like cheated or like you got taken advantage of in
Right.
the situation. You're not coming to a true compromise.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there's that. Yeah.
Yep. No, I would definitely agree with that. I have it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of these old idioms is, like, oh, this is a one size fits all. You should never go to bed angry. Um, do this, do that, and the reality is, what works for you may not work for me, and that's okay. Your relationship is not the same as my relationship. You are a completely different person. Your Julie is a completely different person from Anna. And so all of that stuff, when you're combining those things, there's billions of variables going into just one individual. So as soon as you add, another individual to a relationship, it factors to the nth degree how many things can get misconstrued and misunderstood and make things more stressful than they need to be. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a step back and saying, hey, you know what? I'm too upset right now to think about and discuss this in any kind of way that's going to get us to a level of reconciliation. So I need to take a step back. I'm going to get my thoughts in order because I really don't want to keep talking about this and then say something that I know I'm going to regret. I would rather take a step back and let me get my emotions under control. And I think a lot of women tend to not take this into consideration, and I'm not trying to make this about this is all on women or anything like that. But for a man, testosterone causes a much higher predisposition towards anger being your emotional response. And so it's definitely better for a man to be able to say, hey, my emotions are going crazy right now, and that's turning towards anger. Right. And you don't want that. So especially as a man, because, when a man gets angry, men tend to, and I'm not saying that, men tend to always abuse physically or anything like that, but just that testosterone surge, you can see it in little boys. They've got to have somewhere for that testosterone to go, which is why they end up breaking stuff. I'm sure you've seen it. You've got a son, and I've seen it myself. Is there's a subconscious, almost animal reaction to having a surge of testosterone, and that's going to come out with my muscles are tensing up and I'm not 100% in control. You know, I got mad when I was in high school one time, and I put my fist through a wall. I wasn't even trying to. I think actually it was one of the times when you came down and visited. I don't remember what we were doing, but I got irritated about something. Maybe you weren't there. I don't remember. I could have sworn it was around that time, but yeah, no. Something had happened that just really set me off, and I was walking back to my bedroom and just decided, like, I am just so mad right now. I could put my fist through a wall, and before I even thought about it, I punched through the drywall. I'm lucky I didn't hit a stud because I probably would have broke my hand.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and of course, you know, my dad comes in there later. He's like, yeah, I know you're angry, but you are going to fix that sheetrock. so I, you know, the next day I had to go out there and learn how to fix sheetrock. You know, but yeah, no,
lesson too.
Yeah, for sure. You know, yeah, it's definitely one of those things that you know, shouldn't treat anything like it's a one size fits all. But like I said, you know, it's just because something is difficult doesn't mean it doesn't need to be done. So yeah, that's our going deep with Dick this week. I know that was a little bit of a tonal shift from what we've been talking about in the past, but I thought it might be a good
it's still along the same vein. Absolutely.
Tips for men, so to speak, you know.
Yep.
So
tips with Dick.
Just the tips.
Just the tips.
So anyway, well, that's all the show we have for you this week. So I don't know if you have any final thoughts, Mr. Dick, but if you want to do your sign off, we'll wrap this up.
Hey, thanks for coming, guys, and we hope that you'll come again next time for another great episode.
Yeah, and we'll try to make sure the mess is less next time when you come next time. Well, thank you, everybody. I guess we'll see you next week. And have a good time preparing for Christmas.
Yeah.
And all the happy holidays and stuff. And scene.